Thad Jones and Mel Lewis had, I think, one of the longest running big bands in New York City. Now it's still going, actually, and they call it the Village Vanguard Band, but they play every Monday night at the Village Vanguard New York City.
Isn't that like a tiny place?
Very, very tiny, and it's like less than the size of those risers, and they get a full big band. I don't know how they do it. It's a freakish thing. It's like Dr. Who.
Now, do you have to pay an incredible amount to get in there?
No, well, it used to be like $15, and you have to buy 2 drinks.
The audience space is bigger than.
Yeah, oh yeah, but it's like that place. John Coltrane did out. I mean, it's just a cultural icon. Survived the pandemic. They did live streaming from Marcellus, and I watched something really good. But, so Thad Jones, trumpet player, composer, arranger, kind of took up the helm after Count Basie, Duke Ellington, and is built on kind of what he did, just a real swinging blues-based type stuff, and tried to add a little bit more dimension to it, more contemporary. I wouldn't say contemporary classical stuff, but extended harmony and stuff, a little bit more complicated. But it's still highly steeped in the blues, and it's a good name to be aware of. Mel Lewis was the drummer in the band, and they have their band forever. But when they both passed away, they started calling it the Village Band. But if you're ever in New York City and they're on a Monday night, go see this band. You can see videos of them smashed on the stage.
Ooh, ask my friend in New York about it. After right now. That's my friend if he knows about the village.
Let's see where we are. D. Second time in D. Trumpet solo. Aaron's going to the shop. Second time in G. Back to C. So maybe keep that. Where's that first tenor part? maybe pass that over to John.
Sure.
Why don't you read the first tenor part? I don't think it's much different than what you get solo. It's probably the same as you're saying.
You're like,
So is that pretty typical of what you would hear, or do you move farther away from the basic?
That's, they it go in and out. You know, there's some like some of the ballad stuff is really harmonically
Sophisticated.
heavy. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get too crazy, but if you hear the band now, like there's some newer arrangers that do stuff for them that are a little bit more progressive. But it's still steep in that kind of bluesy tradition. You know, to me it sounds just like a swinging orchestra. You know what I mean? Like
So
that
it's
kind
still
of,
about, like dance beats and people are dancing?
yeah, pretty underlying. Sometimes it might be not quite as obvious, but it's still rooted in swing for sure. So let's see. I need to play the bass. It's just saxes up at the top, right? Yeah. Got some scoops. Some like fun stuff. It's gonna be tricky to play bass. Here you three guys at the top. Just the saxes. One, two, just saxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, cool. Super rhythmically strong, so we can all latch on, right? One, everybody. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're just having fun today. We're gonna try a little bit.
I don't know what to play.
Okay, Andrew, absolutely. I'm not gonna make you. Andrew, you wanna do this solo?
Sure, this is the
Word
word
D. I think he goes through E as well. All right.
No, you don't.
Well, we'll talk about soloing here in a second, but let's keep reading. Let's go D, and take the solo, and then John's got the solo. Where's that? G.
G.
G. Okay. 1, D, 2. 1, 2, 3. Grayson, was there a question about the solo there? It seemed like you.
There's only one, past I, there's one last measure of solo, and that's it. So G and H, and I think I missed I. A lot of measures.
Wait, what? Did someone actually add it to my
Well, those. Let's just talk about this for a second. For those of you that are just getting into improvising, this is a good one to start with. Sorry. So we're in the G concert blues, right? For the most part, it's got some extra chords, right? Call it a G blues, right? think about it like there's a couple ways to think about it. We've been talking about this in my combo class a lot, like different levels, right? Blues is nice because you can apply one scale to the whole stinking thing, right? And sound pretty convincing, right? Anybody know what that scale might be? The blues scale, right?
With the blue note. The blue note.
Right. So now there's kind of two different versions of the blues scale. So what I'm thinking the major blues scale. Hey, can anybody spell that for me?
Alright, G. One note is G.
Yeah, that's a good shot. I already have that written down.
G to B flat.
A.
G, A,
B.
B. I'm going to put a skip in there because there's no C.
Alright, then a D.
A D.
Is there an E?
Yep. What do I have so far? What kind of scale is that? Anybody know?
It looks like a major G scale.
Well, if it was a major scale, I would have the C and the F sharp, right?
Yeah, minus the C.
Right, there's another name for that. We can call it the pentatonic scale.
Pentatonic.
Pentatonic is like the 5 best notes of the major scale, right?
Right.
Because the 4, if you play a G chord in your left hand, and play a C in your right hand. Right, it doesn't sound great, right? Like they got it. So this the C, the 4th. So we're leaving the 4th and the 7th out. But we're also going to add, to make this not a pentatonic, we're going to add the A sharp, right, or the B flat. So that's kind of our blue note. I'm not going to transpose them. You guys can think up a step, or right. So that covers. Let's see. We've got. If you get into, there's some like the D, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, like the last 4 or 5 bars of D on your solo. I know not everybody has the solo changes. It kind of winds around a lot, right? You've got this A7, D7. You've got a cycle of dominant chords, right? One like 5 before E. Two chords. So that's kind of how they're changing it up.
So it's like 16 bars, 2 to the 4.
Right. So this is a 16 bar form. It's usually a 12 bar form. But this scale will still pretty much work. It's not the greatest. But so your next, this is kind of level 1. Level 2 is kind of going chord by chord, right? And applying the right scale. So
It should work.
if you have a dominant chord, like just a G7, what scale do we think of? What note choices do we have? Like modally. What mode works with a G7?
Would it be F?
B.
Like he said.
Mix over here.
Lydian.
I heard F, I heard Mixolydian. F won't work because F's got a B flat in it, right? This has a major third. I heard Lydian. Mixolydian. I like that. Can somebody tell me what Mixolydian means?
It's like a major scale with a flat 7, and
Right.
It's the one that accompanies the.
Right. So if we think of a G7 chord, we've got G, B, D, and F, right? Which is the 5 chord of C, which is also the Mixolydian. So, like I said, this is level. This is your blue scales, level 1. So this is level 2, is getting into the kind of granular detail. Mixolydian. Finding the modes for each of those. So you got G7, you got the 4 chord, the C7, you need the Mixolydian for that, your D7, right? So it's just one note difference. But then you get into these things in the last 4 or 5 bars that get a little crazy. So you're finding your individual scales. And do I have any other options besides the Mixolydian?
Do you mean scale-wise?
Yeah, just no choice wise.
I'm gonna say, chord tones.
Chord tones, yeah. Yeah, you can arpeggiate. That works really well the last 5 bars too, because it's going by so fast.
Right.
There's something called the bebop scale too, right? Which is exactly the same as the Mixolydian, except we're adding back in. We add back in the major set of, oops, I did it backwards, like this. Natural, and then add the sharp. All right. So you get that little bit of chromaticism. Right, there's a lot of licks that accompany that, so. That's your Mixolydian scale, right? Piano players love it because it's just C major, starting on G. Now, if you think about the rhythm of that scale, it doesn't come out on the beat, right? So, jazz players and even people like Bach and stuff would add chromaticism to get the strong chord tones to come out on the beat. Right? So I'm putting that little extra bit of chromaticism. Right? Swinging it a little bit. Let's do this. I think so. There. So I'm gonna play a chorus. We'll just do a little improv workshop here. Alex, I think you're gonna play. I'm gonna have to play something here in a minute. So I'm gonna play D. I'm gonna play it with just the blues scale, just so you can hear what it sounds like with just the blues scale. Right? Can we write a D? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Jazz band and guys that are just starting to learn how to improvise, you hear them playing the blues scale a lot, and which is great. But if you want to get kind of that next level and get away from just the blues, it's to me like the blues is telling John, it's kind of like salsa or like a hot sauce. It's really good in small bits, like kind of going back and forth between kind of arpeggios and melodic ideas, and then throwing some blues in there to kind of like, to me the audience really likes that they can really identify with the blues. So I'm going to try now, same thing, let's do D, and I'm going to use some scale stuff and arpeggios, and then throw some blues in intermittently there. 1, D, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm trying to really outline. It's kind of going around the cycle. Can you see the chord changes there, Lee? I know you.
No, I don't. None of us have it at D.
I've got a piano part that you could look at. Transpose. Kind of have you. Just down a third, yeah.
Or up a,
You can make some notes there. So, how can we practice things like this? Because we don't want to sound like we're just running scales and running arpeggios. All right, we said, let's add arpeggios. Everybody knows what I mean by arpeggios, right?
Yeah.
Basically, to run the chord, because you guys can't play the chord all at once. You got to play up and down. And being able to go kind of up to the 9th or the 11th if you can. On each of those chords. And this is a nice song because all of them are dominant, right? Everything is dominant. So let's see. For B flat, Alex, can you help me spell a blues scale in B flat? Your A blues. So.
Oh, an A?
Yeah, right. Because you're going to use your solo changes, right? Your first chord's an A7, right?
I don't have it.
A D? You don't have chord changes?
it's going to be just like
I guess it's not the first trumpet part.
I don't know.
Here, hold on. Let me get you. That's in the second trumpet part. That'll help. Well, that would make it a little easier if you actually had the chords. Here you go. You almost got out of it. So you look at that A7, right? So it's like for B flat guys, I'm gonna run out of room. So for B flat instruments, we're looking at the A blues, right? So can you spell me an A blues scale?
A, B, C sharp.
A, B.
No.
Let's stick a little bit of let's stick a C natural in there.
C, okay.
That's our blue note, C sharp.
Oh, I had it backwards. Okay, yeah. D,
E,
oh, E, oh, so then E, F, G.
F sharp.
F sharp, G sharp.
Now there is another. When I said there's, well, I won't get you confused. Yeah. Playing with B flat instruments, can you guys play that scale? Just like in quarter notes, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So being able to play that up and down your instrument, just kind of get the feel for those notes. But trying to find some melodic ideas in there and rhythmic ideas. It can be just like 2 notes. It gets a little boring, but I mean. Play. Now let's do an 8th notes. The B flat players. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, yeah, sorry. Go all the way up to the A. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right. So, John, why don't you try it? Just the blues scale D. Just the blues scale D. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play the chord. Sorry. Or the tempo of the song. Sorry. 1, 2, strong notes, but there's some notes that are kind of better than others.
They're nicer.
Yeah, if you think about when you get to bar 5 and you get to the 4 chord, right, your D7.
Yeah, the solo at G follows the same pattern.
Right. Yeah. So you get to the D7. What's kind of your avoid note of the blues scale? So you got a D7. You want to avoid that the C natural. I'm sorry, the C sharp. I'm thinking C and then treble. Right? Because you get that. You don't want that flatted, a regular 7th against the flatted 7th. You don't want. In the scale, you've got that C sharp. You know.
Yeah,
you kind of want to avoid the C sharp on the D7. Right? Unless you kind of pass through it. You pass through it like the. But you don't want to stick on it, right?
Right, it's only okay off the B as a passing tone.
Right, exactly. I mean, you want to try it? So play, I know you're kind of transposing, but you can do it, right?
Yeah.
So what is your cycle there? 1, 2,
Pretend it's treble.
5 and 4,
Pretend it's
E. What's your cycle start on? You know, we've got a concert A7, so you're starting on a.
Wait, where though?
Like 5 before
5 before E?
Yeah, that's the only spot that's
A7.
kind of tricky. Yeah, but so you need to transpose it to is it F7 or
F
is it?
sharp.
Oh yeah, just down
F
minor
sharp.
third. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes around the cycle, right? So you're F sharp, B7, D7, A7, right? So if you could think about it that way, we'll play it.
I'll
Try
try.
it. Here we go. So I mean, just solo. 1, 2, 3, Our chords got off, I think. Let's do it a little bit quicker. Sorry, I mean. 1, 2, 1, Grayson, try it.
Which one?
Me? Oh, yeah.
Saxophone, Grayson.
On saxophone or?
Either whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Choose a weapon.
Clarinet.
Yeah, it's easier to translate.
So you're up. You're kind of like looking down from a telescope, or looking up and seeing the universe as just one big blue scale, you know. Or you can kind of zoom in, right, and think about the individual scales and arpeggios, right, melodic ideas. But it's like if you start to get, for me, it's sometimes like I'll start with the blues scale just to kind of get my feet wet, you know what I mean, just to kind of get comfortable playing the rhythm section, then kind of expand, you know, you want to expand rhythmically, things like that. So, all right, Grayson, give it a shot. Here's D. Get our tempo up just a bit. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. give it a shot. Play as little as you want, but play something. Here you go. D, 2, 1, 2, 3. Sounds good. You got a nice sound. Yeah.
You didn't die.
Yeah. Even if you make some mistakes in there, you know, it's you can cover them pretty easily. You know, like you can, if you hit a wrong note, you can resolve it. You know, and it actually sounds. Sometimes it sounds good to lay into a funky note. Then if you resolve it right, well, it fixes itself. Grayson, you try it.
All right.
D, solo. You're one. You can do it. All right, Grayson, here we go. 1, D, 1, 2, So Andrew, I'm going to ask you a little bit more advanced stuff. So when you get to that cycle, see if you can play some stuff up to arpeggio on each of those. You know.
Oh, I don't know that might be a little more advanced.
You could do like a 1 2, you know, just 1 2 or 1 3 5 on the.
Okay, they go by so fast, right?
Yeah. Well, that's why get something you can handle. Find a pattern.
Got it. It might be okay.
Yeah, we got the chords. See if you can just see if you can outline it. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, that's something to isolate, you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that's the thing when you look at a new song and you've got a solo, the thing to do is look at it and go, okay, is this something that I know, but it's kind of disguised? Like, this song it's a blues, you know, for the most part we can, but the last 4 or 5 bars of it are a little different. So it's like, okay, I need to keep that in mind when I'm playing. You know, the rest of it's going to be kind of easy, but I need to look at that, you know, isolate that, practice that, right? Let's run the whole thing down. I mean, why don't you do the solo of D now?
Should be in there.
Sure.
Just search on the.
Okay.
Search on the form. Search on the form. The form where you got it from. I'll show you in a second.
a G, right? B and a D. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pass around here. 1, 2, the sax is 2, ready, go! I did say sax at the beginning because they have the intro, right? But everybody.
I know where we were.
At the beginning?
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I didn't mean to sound sarcastic. Let's take it right at A.
Yes, it does.
A.
You don't use it for jazz though.
1, 2, 3, everybody.
That's why I take it out. Darkens your tone a little.
Or is it only for low notes?
More so.
Okay.
Thank you.